guys, Jess here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to bring you this little project here today, which is a little divided box there to store my embellishments on. I keep these in a drawer next to my desk, and I'm kind of I'll see it to use it, so I decided I had all these unopened packets. So let's get them used. I use those because they tend to just sit on my desk, so they're well used. And I've got a pile of retired stuff. So although most of these are carrying over, so that's okay. But I don't want to be left with a load of stuff. So I made this, and you might recognise, you might think, oh, that looks a little bit familiar, because a while back I made this for my my extra large die packets. So that's just going to look lovely on my desk, which I am in the process of doing a little bit of a craft room overhaul. So yeah, I just thought that would look really nice. And so stay tuned and I'll show you how I made it. Okay, so to make this, there's quite a few measurements, and they will all be on my blog, but I'll just go through them. So for the main piece, you need a bit that's 8.5 by 12. Okay, and then the bit that goes in the middle is basically 7 by 6.5, but I went a smidge, so about a 16th off that, so that'll be what, 6 and 15/16ths, and no, yeah, and 6 and 7/16, yeah, 8 and 8 16, yeah, 7/16. So yeah, I just went up to the point on my trimmer and pulled it back one. Okay, so that's the main base, and then for the decorations I've used Whisper White and my very favourite Petal Promenade sheet. I still actually between the two storages I've managed to get it all out of one sheet for the two. So I'm going to make probably some more storage, so wait for that. So this measures 4 3/4 by 4.5, and then this is just a 1/4 inch shorter and thinner, so that's 4.5 by 4. And then for the sides, and these will get cut down when I stick them on, so these are, the Whisper White is 1 3/4 by 4 3/4, and the DSP is 1.5 by 4.5. And then for the front, we've got 2 1/4 by 4 1/4 and 2 by 4. Okay, for the original one, I used some retired fresh fig woven ribbon, and that was the end of the supply I had. I did get another whole roll on retirement because I just love it, but because it's tinier, I just thought that that would be too big, so I'm using the rich raspberry velvet ribbon because I think that would fit better. I think the thick stuff would cover up too much of the flowers on here, so that's what I'm using. Okay, so let's get on. So I'm going to get my scoreboard and do some scoring. Okay, so you could, if you didn't have 12 by 12 in this, you could just make the back and the front a little bit shorter, and sort of work it out that way if you were using 8.5 by 11, and instead of having it 8.5 wide, you could probably adjust it to do it in A4, but I've got 12 by 12 of this, so it just made it easy maths when looking at it. Okay, so on the short side, we are going to score at 2 inches on both sides. I was just checking the instructions then. So 2 inches, I'm just going to flip it and do 2 inches there. And then we're going to flip it round on the long side, and we're going to score at 5 inches on each of these sides. So we'll do 5 inches there and 5 inches there. Oh, that's 4. just... It was all going so well, Jez. Just get that out a bit. It doesn't matter because it's all going to get covered up. Now, when I made the first prototype for this, because the bottom is shorter than the top, I did do it so it was cut away, but then you got, I'll show you when I'm doing it, then you got the sides, you got a little thing on the sides. I don't know if I've got my prototype. No, I actually totally dismantled it. Right, so this is the smidge below a 7, and then you've got a smidge below the 6.5, and we're going to score at 1 inch on all 4 sides, and it's a slight smidge because this is going to go on the inside of the box, so this just helps it fit, just like you do with box lids and box bases. And then on this bigger size, we're going to score down the centre, which is sort of 3.5, but we're just going to move it a smidge over to allow, we use this as a butt to move that over, and then go down at 3.5. Oh, I've moved it. There we go. That is all my scoring. So then we need to fold and burnish all of these school lines. And this is just going to make me so happy when I look at my craft desk. I have done a bit of a major overhaul. There will be another craft room tour coming, this time a bit more tidy. I got a bit of the new storage, mainly for the blends, because I already had storage for my ink pads sorted. And I've got storage for my ribbons. And I'm probably going to get some for my re-inkers because I quite like them on the top, but I haven't quite decided until I sort of know what I'm going to do in my craft room. I couldn't decide. I'm just going to go over those bits with my bone folder, but they will get covered when we are decorating, and I might make that bit the back, so you're not going to see it, and that bit could be the bit that goes underneath, so it won't be a problem at all. Right, so I'm going to bring my big scissors in for doing these snip-ins. So what we're going to do is we're going to snip up these vertical lines. So you want to cut just that side of where the score line is, and then we're going to notch it in. Do that very well, and then do the same on this side. Oh yeah, I've done that. A mesh. Same on that side. We do have another bit of scoring to do, I've just remembered, but we'll get this cut up. So the idea of this is we are going to cut out all 4 corners. So we'll just notch them as we do. We'll get all 4 corners off. And this is going to make it quite strong and sturdy. just do little notches up there. So I just leave that there like that, so you can see the shape that you want it to look like. And then these are going to come out the other way, and that's how it's going to stick on the inside of the box, so you've got a nice strength there. Okay, now on here, of course the front is lower than the back, so you want to go back in with the scoreboard, and it is 2.5 inches. So this is basically going to be, this score line is at 5, so you want to score 2.5 inches, but just on this centre piece. So I kind of went down with my score tool lightly until I got there, and scored it down to there, stopping there. Okay, and then you're going to cut down here, so that's score line, and on the other side, and then you're just going to cut the other side of that score line, so we're taking the score line out. So we haven't got any bulges. And that is what your box shape looks like with all the cuts. Okay, so then we can start putting it together, and what you're going to do is you're going to fold that into the inside, so you get a nice double strength there. Okay, so we're going to we're going to adhere that down, and we're going to adhere that to the outside of the back, and then sandwich that. That's going to the outside of the back, and that's going on the inside, so it's sandwiched. That's just what I like to do. So you won't see where I made that mistake there with that bit of scoring, and that one will get covered up. So let's glue this down. I'm using some coral because I like using this, because it gives a little bit of extra strength, I always find. And my Tombo's not here yet. We've had problems in the in Europe with the orders that contain liquid things have been held at customs. So I've got 3 Tombos waiting, and I've got just some I've got a few Tombos that are like sat here in my jar upside down, and we're getting like to the end. So I've been going back to an old favourite. I've been waiting for that. So I'm going to put glue on the insides of these. Let's open that a bit wider. For me, when I'm choosing glue, ease of squeeze is one of the things I look for, which is why I like this and why I like Tombow, because the ease of the squeeze, you hardly have to squeeze, and when I have problems with my hands, that's really important to me. So we're just going to pick that up, although I do find that this doesn't stick quite as quick as Tombow, but it's not bad. And any excess just rubs off quite nicely as well, which is another thing I like. There we go. Now what you can do now is you can stick this in before you put the front up. So that just sticks down like so, and you might find it easier to do that now before you stick the front together. So we're going to stick these two middle bits, and this will give it a nice strong divide. Not that embellishments weigh very much really. Well, that linked all over there. But if you were going to resize this to hold other things, you might want a little bit of strength. I intend for this to last a long time, so I wanted it to be strong. So and I'm loving that it's fresh fig, because I love fresh fig. So I'm gonna, even when they're retired, I'm going to enjoy looking at my desk. I think if I've got lots of pretty things and nice storage, I might be more inclined to be tidy. Yeah, maybe. And then we'll put some on there. Put some on here. There we go. And then that is just going to go, these are going to stick to the sides, and this is going to stick to the bottom. And then I'm going to push it on the side, and I'm going to get my bone folder. Squish it down. Oh. This is why I like Tombow better, because you do get adhesion really quickly with your Tombow, which makes this a lot better. Yeah, that worked. I love making my own storage because you can make it to exactly your need. When you buy things, it's a lot of, well, that'll do, I'll have to adapt it. It's not quite what I want. Whereas when you make to measure, you can get exactly what you want. So that's that. And then we just need to glue this up the sides. And because that's folded over at the front, it's just pretty. A pretty edge. So that's that. We are going to cut these, but I'm going to give the glue a little bit of time to stick before I do that. So let's get these pieces sorted. So that's the front, that's the sides. We need to sort them out in a minute. I don't need that. So get this glued. Go. Now what we want to do is slant these sides. So I'm using my big scissors. I think they're probably dry enough now. Yep. And then I'm just going to stick the blade in like that. Just cut it off and do the same at the other side. And then there. they'll match lovely. Got a bit of glue there. And then I want to cut these down. So I'm going to use this to help me cut the right slant. I'm hoping that will work. Yes, cooking on gas. Right, so I'll use that then as a template for the other. Got a bit of muck on me scissors, I think. So use that for the template. On that side. So that fit nicely there. And that fit nicely on that side. And then I want to cut it off here, so I'm lining that up to cut that across there. There's definitely something on these scissors. So I'm going to follow that line and go down ½ inch, a quarter really, to do it there. And then I'll use that as a template for this one. I've just been thinking whilst doing then, but I think that worked, because I didn't do it on a prototype, but that seems to have worked lovely. I'm not going to throw those. I'm sure I can do something with that. There we go, and then we just need to put some ribbon around, I think. So we get some glue dots. I've got so much glue on my hand. That glue dot's wasted. So stick a glue dot there. Stick that end on there. And I might go around, stick a few glue dots. And I think this works all right because it's velvet ribbon. It's you're not going to see it, whereas you might see the glue dots if you had a thinner ribbon. Cut the ribbon off. And then I can tie a bow . Twist it that way. There we go. If you do some clever twisting, then you get to see velvet on all bits. So we need to there we go. So we get a couple of glue dots, I think, on the back of that ribbon because it's quite thick and heavy. There we go. And then that'll stick over that and you'll not see it. Not see the joint, and then we just need our embellishments. So I've got some rhinestones, some nice seals there, some faceted gems. I've got our metallic pearls, happiness blooms, pearls and thingy. So there we go. That is my embellishment storage. Sits nicely, don't fall over. Got your smaller packets at the front, your larger packets at the back. That'll sit on my desk and I'm going to use it. I find that I use less embellishments if they're far away. If they're, you know, away in a cupboard. So this one I used, if you remember, this white cardstock is what you put in a DSP pack, and because it's holding dies, I wanted it to be stronger, but these I decided to do it in cardstock, so it matches but is like opposite. Okay, hope you like that. All the details will be on my blog, nigezza.co.uk, and check this one out if you missed it as well. Okay, hope you like that. Don't forget to like and subscribe, click the bell, and you'll get notifications of every time I upload a video. Okay, see you again soon.